So, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about your journey in education, right? How many years did you teach for? What grade levels did you teach? Stuff like that.
Well, I have been in my district for 29 and a half years this in December. So I
Wow.
got hired. I was actually a different kind of major, a remedial education, special ed major in college. And then I got this job teaching gift, and it's amazing. Best job in the building. I absolutely loved it. Um, Taught it at initially at two schools. We were a small district, and then at three schools. And then when the fourth school opened, I got a helper, and so I was back to two schools, and eventually made it down to just one school. Um, our system just mushroomed. I think we started at like 6,000 students, K through 12 initially, and um, we're now at like I don't know, double, triple, maybe to 2,400, 24,000, maybe. I don't know. It's a
Wow.
lot. Much bigger district that we started with. Yeah. So,
Wow.
and I just loved it. It was great,
That's
but I was
great. It
ready for
sounds like,
something new.
yeah, you're ready for something new. Did you think, I mean, so you said your degree was in remedial education, special education. So did you plan to be a teacher, a career teacher?
Um, so I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Okay, I was just curious if you looked into your future, did you think you would
Yeah.
be a career teacher?
Oh, that's a whole other story. No, I was just going to supplement the income for a while. I had three little boys. I actually, to keep the job I had to go back to school and get a master's in gifted ed.
Oh, wow.
So I had, gosh, my kids were 8, 6, and 2 at that point, and I went back in those days. We didn't have the interrupts, so we had to do what's called weekend college,
Okay.
and which was a step up from night school. But I had to drive 2.5 hours down to another town to the university 1 weekend a month and take classes that way and mail stuff back and forth. Crazy.
Wow,
Um,
wow. And so you weren't expecting it, but it sounds like you're happy that you went through that process, huh?
yes, yes, it was great, and I loved it so much. You know the saying, "Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life." I mean, it just hit everything. It was so great. Everything was always different. I didn't get bored. If I got bored, it was my problem. I just changed the curriculum until we found something that was interesting again. So
What a great insight for like as a teacher, as you said, right? If you start to be bored, you just get
yeah,
to change the curriculum.
yeah, absolutely.
That that's so great. What do you think you loved most about being like in class, the classrooms actually?
I honestly, it's the enthusiasm of the students. They would come in. You could be having a very low energy day, a bad day, something at home kind of a day, and the moment the kids walk in, it's like this energy shot goes off, and it just is so invigorating and so much
Wow.
fun. Yeah.
The kids giving you an energy shot, all their
Yes.
enthusiasm.
Yes. Yes. It's just fun. It was just fun all the time.
That's wonderful. What was the age range that you mostly taught for?
Initially, it was first through sixth, but that changed pretty quickly. The state of Alabama only serves third through high school, so my school was at third through fifth grade for the most of the time. So that's what I taught. We did special lessons in second grade, but then the kids came out to me as a pullout in third, fourth, and fifth grade.
Nice. Do you think you have a favorite grade to teach? Or there's challenges with all of them, I'm sure.
They're different for different reasons. I love fourth grade, and that's the grade I thought I wanted to teach. So I really do love them. But the fifth graders are so much more capable of doing bigger things. So third grade was good just because you get to know the kids, and that's a neat part of it too, is you get to loop up the teacher term. So I learned them and their family in third grade, and then fourth grade I have them, and fifth grade I have them, and it was really neat. Like one time I had a little girl that struggled with migraines, and in fourth grade her um, parents had told me, well, we're changing some medicine to try to get that fixed. And she came into fourth grade one day, and they were doing something that had alphabetical order in it, and she said, what comes after M? And I contacted her mom,
Wow.
and I said, "Oh, you got to get her off this medicine. It has disconnected all of her synapse, and it's not a good thing." And her classroom
Wow.
teachers had been telling parents that she was not a good student because they just met her, and
Sure,
I
sure.
had known her since first grade. So it was just neat to have that kind of relationship where you could see things evolving and changing. And by the same token, you could also see them develop things that were kind of kind of problematic for them in third grade. You would work the curriculum so that by fifth grade, at some point, they had a time when they really got to shine and make the most of whatever that little weird thing was.
Wow.
It's just
That's
fun.
I love that you got to see them expand from first grade to
Yes.
second, third,
Oh my
up
gosh,
and up and up.
yes.
Is that's not normal for teachers to sort of teach all the different grades, is it?
No, no. It sometimes teachers do it where they've taught kindergarten and then jobs change or situations do whatever, and so they move up to second grade and they'll have their same kids for a year or two, depending. And
Mm,
that's really
mm,
neat. And there's another thing called looping where teachers on purpose have a class one year and then move up within the next year.
mm.
But that's not standard. It's not usually done.
Yeah, gotcha. So that story with, this third grader or the student that you got to see from first grade, and then third
Yeah.
grade had these migraines and changed, her medication,
Yes.
as well as you're talking about this energy shot that you got from the
Yeah.
kids. Are there some memorable maybe moments as a teacher that like stick out to you throughout the years?
Oh, well, one immediately, we had this particular family that was very, what's the word? They were big personalities. And they just, like, the mom was adorable. A little sprite of a woman with a stripe of blue hair in her short cropped hair. And she, her son, she had three boys, and the oldest son was just her mini me. He just everything he did, you could see Mama being channeled in there.
Mm.
So one it, I think I've had him third and fourth, and then in fifth grade, because we did this world, they were running the school store, and for Christmas, he wanted to make a 12 days of Christmas commercial for the school store. And his family had musical background, performance musical background. So he talked to his dad a little bit, and he came in. They did the most beautiful. He wrote it, and then he got kids involved to do each day. So on the first day of Christmas, my teacher gave to me a felt tip pen that we bought at the school store. And the second day of Christmas, she gave me, two somethings all the way through 12. And we performed it in those days, we had a school of 500. So we
Oh,
performed it for the whole school in our morning assembly.
oh wow.
And I just, I wish I had it recorded, but back then
Sure.
again, we really didn't record everything like you do now. It was just
Wow.
such a great memory. And I know that I'm still kind of in contact with him now. He's in high school, like probably a senior this,
Mm.
and he still talks about that experience. So,
Wow.
yeah,
How much fun is that? Like, and you said that it actually stemmed from, was it they did the BizWorld program before that, and that sort of led that direction?
yeah, yeah. So initially, when I found this world, I taught it to a little group, and They loved it, of course. This was back in the early 2000s. I can't remember exactly when we started, but the kids loved it so much that after the unit was done, we turned and started going to something else. And a couple of the girls came to me and said, "We think we need a school store." And I said, "Oh, you do?" "Oh, yes, yes." So they made all on their own. They created a proposal to take to our principal, who they hoped would be a venture capitalist for us. A company at that time in Washington State was selling a full, big, rolling school store cart. And I think
Mhm.
you could get it for $250 or something. So they made a proposal to the principal about how they were going to use the profits to fund school field trips. And
Wow.
they were going to be selling on different days and times with different kids. And this was what the name of it was going to be. And this was their product line. And they had, I mean, yes, we worked together on it, but they really started the idea on their own. And she saw the value in it. So she paid for the cart and we paid her back over time. Fantastic. So anyway, I'm proud to say one of
Wow.
those little girls now has her own studio salon. She
Oh,
does
no
eyelash.
way.
Yeah.
One of the ones that started the school store.
Yes.
Now, actually, she does
Yes.
run her own business, has
She
her own
has her own
salon.
business. Yes. Yes. So
How
pretty,
unbelievable is that? You can see
yeah.
directly from where BizWorld started. Was it in what grade did you start out teaching them in?
That was probably fourth grade.
Fourth
Yeah.
grade BizWorlds to today, she has her own
Yes.
business.
Very successful. Yes.
Very successful business.
Yes.
That is such a great story. How did you first discover BizWorld in the first place?
I must have gone to a conference. In those days, we did national gifted conferences. And I actually ended up presenting at one of those with somebody that worked at BizWorld years ago. I can't remember his name, but I think I had heard about it at a conference and brought it home and used it. And, it's just such a tight knit company. When you communicate it all with BizWorld, feel like you've become part of the family, which I love. And I I got the stuff, and back in those days, it was a big old teacher's guide and some biz bucks and some stock, and I think that was it.
Mm, mm.
And the rest of it comes out of your own hat.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was it
So
was
you
really
you
fun,
saw it
and
change and develop a lot, huh?
oh my gosh, yes, yes, and every change was better. It was just so I'm really excited to be at this end of it now, where we're working on BizWorld Pro to Plus, I should say,
Yeah.
and yeah, and getting to see all the changes.
Yeah, that's so exciting. We'll talk all about BizWorld Plus here in a second.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you can think back, like, so I know you were at the conference, you met somebody that's part of BizWorld. What made you decide to actually give it a shot to implement it into your classroom?
Because it had all the components. I mean, it had everything. I always tried to kind of web the lessons so that I had some art and I had some technology, such as it was at the time, and some writing, some math. And when I first found it, I think I initially worked it with my class, but then once I'd been through it one time, I saw how big the value of it was, and I actually taught it with a team of sixth grade teachers as a part, like we did a BizWorld week. And the
Wow.
math teacher was on board and the writing teacher was on board, and everybody was doing different parts of it. It was so much fun. And the
Wow. So
whole
would you
grade.
all and the whole grade was involved. And so
Yeah.
did you get them all into one classroom, into the assembly hall, and different teachers did different pieces? How did that work?
So we moved them around, but we figured out who was going to teach each part. And so the
Oh,
kids would travel through, and they would do the finance worksheet with the math teacher, and they would do the commercials with the writing teacher, and I think science teacher and social studies. We talked about more of the social studies aspect of being a good community member and things like that. Yeah,
wow.
it was fun.
That that is so much fun. Um, Along those lines, right? So I sort of noted, like, are there any sort of other success stories? I mean, that's a huge memorable moment, or you already shared with the
Yeah.
the school store coming around,
Right.
right? And then getting all of the teachers involved again is like such a big
Yes.
success story. But are there any other specific like success stories or memorable moments from specifically teaching BizWorld?
I will say that we, once they created the store, we used that store up until COVID. So,
Well,
2020, everything kind of went apart. Um, but then we moved schools. We actually closed my school down and moved over to a new school, to a
mm,
brand new building. It was beautiful. And I did, I taught another class of fifth grade BizWorld for my gifted. And so funny. A group of girls at the end of it said, Mrs. Tibbs, you have a school store here at Midtown. I said, you do? Yes. I said, well, how are we going to do that? Well,
oh,
let's talk to our principal and see if we can, maybe PTA will help us and we can. And so I let it be known that I actually had a big rolling part, that I had moved over from the other school, but,
sure.
we hadn't, they didn't know about it. And
Wow.
so excited. So we started all over with that process. But again, it comes organically. They get so many ideas, just from how it's presented. They get such a feeling of empowerment. I think that's probably the best part of it, is they really understand that everybody can make a difference. You just got to figure out your part.
So you just get a big
I don't know
feeling of
about,
empowerment. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Nothing else really comes to mind.
That's
It
great.
just allowed different kids to be, the kid that really could not make a bracelet to save his life made the funniest commercial because he was a tech kid. He
Oh,
couldn't do anything with his hands well, only because he didn't have the patience, not because he really couldn't, mind you.
sure, sure.
But he was all about that little Chromebook. And so he made the funniest, like all the whole class just stopped when he showed it and cracked up. So everybody has their niche in there.
Mm, mm. Everybody has their niche. Everybody can have a piece of it, even if they're not super creative or super outgoing.
Yes. Yes.
That is so great to hear. And so, mentioned just now that, they get this big feeling of empowerment. How did you sort of see students transform throughout the biz world experience? Like I've heard stories of really shy kids, shy
Yes.
students that
Yes.
eventually like they're the ones that are starting to do the pitches at the end.
Yes.
How did you
Yes.
see students transform throughout the program?
Yeah. We have that. I had one student that, bless her, she was like the Breakfast Club. That may be too old a reference for you, but okay. But like the thug-ish, she's as tall as I am in fourth grade. She was gorgeous, but she just didn't fit in. Like just didn't fit in with anybody. But I knew she loved art. And so when this year started, she came in, kind of sat and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
just mock everything anybody was doing. We have a kid that stutters, and she would say, blah, 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 blah. Just
Oh, wow.
mean. But I
Oh,
knew she loved art. And so I said, all right, this semester, we're going to be doing something, and I'm going to need somebody who's really artistic to help design the products for a company. I and I don't know if any of you are going to be interested in that job. Lit up. You're going to do art. We're going to do art. And I mean, that was it. She
yeah.
just took it. She was on it. There was no messing around in her company anymore. We got things to do today, people. And you're doing this, you're doing that. It was just a transformation for her. So great.
That's wonderful. A lot of people don't realize that business world is so much more than just learning business skills, right? That it is really life skills, if you'd say. Do you feel
Yes,
the same having experienced it firsthand?
definitely. It's executive functioning, which is a lost art right now for kids. And it really, they understand, like I said, they understand it's all on them and that they've got to figure out steps. And in fact, at the end, when we do our little survey of, how they've changed from the start to the end of this world, they will say things like, no, I realized that I wasted a lot of time arguing with people over things that ended up not making any difference. Like, yes, yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That's
Yeah, it's
that's so great to hear. That's a new one for me right there that I've never heard before. That the kids themselves are saying, I used to argue so much with my friends and other students and didn't make a difference at all. And now they learn
oh,
and they're moving forward.
yes, yeah, they understand at the end when some other company made $50 more than they made. Oh, dang. Yeah, that's great.
That's great. Thank you so much. So transitioning sort of to your work now as a
Yes.
BizWorld staff member. Um, so after a long, successful teaching career, what has inspired you to actually join BizWorld as a new education community and outreach coordinator?
So it's funny. I feel like it was, well, okay, I have to go back for this.
Please.
So back in, I told you I was just going to work for a while. So
Mm,
when my youngest was born, my husband decided that he didn't want to do his job anymore. He'd done it. He had been the breadwinner for, I don't know, 15 years or something. And I had kind of dabbled at teaching or whatever. Um, so he quit his job. We had a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And I said, oh, I have this degree. I think I'm going to go use it. So I was in a mother's Bible study group, and you know how those things are. We had prayers. So I had prayers that my husband would find a job. My husband was in a men's Bible study group, and I didn't know this at the time, but he had prayers. He requested prayers that I would find a job. And so, and it was very hard to get a job in my system. This, at that
mm,
time, like people were waiting in line to apply for jobs for the system, such a hot system. And so I had applied with them, and I got a phone call from this lady. I'd subbed in there, so I knew the principal, and my kids went to school there. So the principal called me, and she said, "I have this job teaching gifted kids, and nobody really wants it, but if you would like it, you can have it. It starts on Thursday, and you don't have to interview because I already know you as a mom." That doesn't happen.
really?
So, I mean, it was amazing. It was definitely a God thing. So then, fast forward 15 years or so, about 10 or 15 years ago, as I was using BizWorld, and one day, for some reason, I looked at the portal and it said careers. And there was this job to be like a teacher liaison. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so great to get to work for that company. But of course, it's in California and Alabama. So, what a great thing, though. I would love that so much. And it just started, just put a little seed in my head.
Sure.
So, at, every now and then when I'd have a down day, I'd like go to BizWorld.org and look under careers and see if that job was still. And it was for a while. And I was like, dang, I wish I could do that from Alabama, but that can't be done. Well, then in 2020, everything changed. Then 2021, I got invited to come out to the BizWorld luncheon as the teacher of the year, thanks to a very good friend of mine that I work with here, who put me up for that. I didn't even know it was a thing. Anyway, so I got to go out there and I checked that website and it said, the job was still open. And so it's like, okay, this is my job interview. They don't know it, but I'm interviewing for a job. And I got out there, and one of the first people they introduced me to was their brand new teacher liaison that had just been hired from
Huh.
Atlanta, Georgia, which is like 3 hours.
There you go.
It's like, oh, snap. She got my job.
Mm,
But of course, I didn't tell them any of this.
yeah.
This was all internal. But anyway, um, then Melissa contacted me, I don't know, maybe later, and invited me to go to well, no, I guess I said I was going to present at my state conference with BizWorld. And then they asked me if I would mind presenting at a conference in Ohio. And then, which of course I said, yes, why wouldn't I? So then I met Melissa there and we really had some good conversations. And um, I guess this job came up and she reached out to me and like, oh yeah, yeah, yes, yes, I want to do that. I want to do that so much.
Yeah,
I want to do that. But I've got one more year of teaching before I'm done. I thought this
sure.
was year 30. Long story short, I miscalculated my numbers. But anyway,
Okay.
I thought 30 was going to be the number I was going to end on.
Yeah.
So the more I thought about her offer, the opportunity, the more I thought, why am I sticking around? This is not going to wait for me. Well, I need to
Mm.
just move into it now that it's finally been offered. So I asked them about, I guess, September. I said, yeah, I'm really, really, really interested, but would it mess it up terribly if I wasn't a teacher? And they said, that'd be better. We've got so much work. I said, okay, let's make this work for all of us. And then here I am.
And now here you are. Wow. So you knew about this role for so long. When
Yes.
everything was still, they were completely based in person working in California. You're in
Yes.
Alabama. Of course, you didn't think that could work out. And
No. No.
then after COVID, everything went remote. The
Yes.
job was still open. You were selected as teacher of the year. Unbelievable. Use it as your chance to have the job interview.
Yes.
And little did you know that another position, that position would already be taken, but another one would
Yes.
open up and be again
Yeah.
offered to you, just like the earlier story,
Yes.
right? With you and your
Yes.
husband,
Right.
position would be offered to you.
Right. Right. So sweet.
That is
Yes.
so great. And so, what excites you most about the new role?
It's the thing that scares me the most, is the thing that excites me the most. They say if you're not afraid of your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough.
Oh, wow.
So um the chance to really the chance to make the curriculum moving forward even better is very daunting because I love it the way it has been. But I know that, there are things that can be changed, tweaked, improved, whatever. So that's what I'm most excited about. And also I love the networking aspect of it, talking to teachers and convincing them that they can do it, and helping them get through whatever their rough patches are. And that's also the thing that's most frustrating is I send them an email and I'm just sure they're going to email me back, but sometimes
Mm.
they don't really care. I'm just another person in their inbox and they're
Very
really
fair.
busy with their real job. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a challenge for me not to take that personally, but also to keep at it until I make that relationship with them.
Building the relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah, not taking it personally. Because like you said, in the beginning, you are just another person in the
right,
inbox, even though you're
right.
there to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What will, and I'm sure this will change, but what are some of your responsibilities outlined that are going to be included as the education community and outreach coordinator?
So, making relationships with the teachers and helping them understand the curriculum, also helping this world staff understand what limitations the teachers have or that the program has in their classroom so that we can refine those. Working on the processes so that it all gets streamlined on both ends with teacher feedback and with teacher use so that ultimately the students are better served. Um,
Nice. That's wonderful. Building relationships. I like that, helping the internal staff realize the teachers' limitations, how teachers actually work and react, right?
yes,
I mean, this is our first time meeting, but like Melissa has told me a lot about you. And that I think is the piece that she's also somewhat the most excited about. Like she's like, we have someone on the inside now that like
yes, yes,
understands how teachers think.
yes.
Well,
And so funny because they'll ask me questions and I'll be like, well, yeah, you would want to do that. Or, no, that's not the thing. But if you do this, this, and this, and they're like, oh, that's so great. I'm like, seriously? You didn't just know that? But it's been kind of a learning curve for me to understand that no, they really don't. We teachers really do operate in a different world. We really do.
Yeah. And so, I mean, as a teacher, how do you think that experience, your classroom experience, is going to inform or change your approach to this position?
Yeah. I had a relationship with Patty. She's adorable.
Mm.
And she's been with this world like forever. So I had that relationship with her as a teacher. And I want to become that kind of personality. It's not an entity, a friend to the teachers and help them be confident that whatever their needs are, um, that we can overcome it together. And I'm not sure, what was your question? Did I answer?
Yeah, how like your experience as a teacher is going to impact or inform your approach to your position now.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. When as a teacher, when we get corrections, we get assignments, we get, whatever put on us, it's helpful to hear from another teacher about how doable it is. Um, because a lot of times administrators, from a teacher's perspective, administrators sit in their office and think, oh, well, they can do this and that. Yeah, we'll just add that to the job description. They can do that. And sometimes we can, but sometimes we have to make a system for it so that it works itself and we don't have to work to do it, if that makes sense. So that's the thing is, when they see the directions and they say students are going to do this and this, then I hope I'll be able to say, well, yeah, but you take that kid that is sitting in the back of the room but only does art and you get her to buy in, or you ask your parents or your community to come in and stand one to each team if you have really young fourth graders and let them be advisors and consultants and make them get paid biz bucks,
Great.
So
There you
just
go.
little workarounds and hacks.
You know the inside like better than almost anybody. And like you said, like knowing the example you just gave that maybe sometimes administrators will make not like false promises, but make assumptions. And now you know
Yes,
that, it actually doesn't really work that way. But if we
yes,
can make a
yes,
small tweak on it, then we can actually implement
yes,
these
right,
things,
right.
which is really, really wonderful. Um, Great. So, from a teacher's perspective, I'll try and wrap us up here a little bit. I know actually I'm busy visiting some family, and I think all the little kids are going to be home
Oh,
in a minute, anyways.
yeah. And I feel like I'm
But
talking your ear off. So yeah, that's
oh,
good.
I appreciate you talking my ear off, Wendy. Like that's why I just keep asking you more and more questions. And so, from a teacher's perspective, because you don't have to give me necessarily like a testimonial, but that is sort of
Right.
where this question is geared towards. What do you think
Okay.
makes BizWorld unique compared to other curriculum or other educational programs?
Everything. So the thing I love most about this world is that I thought initially I was teaching an economics unit, but over the years I figured out that it's really an entrepreneurial unit, and it's all about executive functioning and getting kids to harness their abilities and understand that they are in control of their future. So whether they actually go into um, a small business as an entrepreneur, or whether they go into any area, they still need to understand how business works. They need to understand profit and loss. They need to understand that people aren't going to buy products just because you made them. They have to need
Sure.
them or want them, or you need to make them valuable in some way to bring in your market. It's just it's so open-ended. You can do it with third graders, you can do it with fifth graders. You won't be doing the same thing, but you will be doing something meaningful for the kids. However, if you just get out of the way and let the kids run with it. I
Doing
love
something
that.
meaningful for the kids. You also, like you say, just if you can get out of the way a little bit and let them
Yes,
run with it and learn experience, huh?
yes. Yeah. It's just
That's
great. I'm so happy that Mr. Draper thought it up initially, and that we've gotten to just build it and build it.
great. So I appreciate that perspective, right, of sort of what makes BizWorld unique and such. Let's see what else I have for you. Oh, this is always interesting to me. What would you say to teachers who might be hesitant about implementing a new program like BizWorld?
Yeah, it looks like a lot, but the kids will be your students will be so connected with it almost immediately that it again, you just have to get out of their way. Take a chance on it. Once you've done it, you will never teach it twice the same way. But once you do it, get all the way through it one time and kind of see how it works, it's amazing. The kids take it in different directions every time. Some years you'll sell bracelets, some years they'll make their own products, some years they'll have great competition and amazing commercials, and some years they'll have great products and make relationships that'll be the great part. It's just the best.
So it looks like it could be a lot from the beginning and from the outside,
It
but,
does.
but once you take a chance on it and get going with it, it sounds like
Yes.
the kids end up making it a lot easier because they gravitate
Yes.
to it really simply.
Yes. Yes. I will say the first time you use it, if it makes you nervous, um, do it in whatever way is comfortable to you. You can tailor it in different ways. So, do the program as small as you need to do it initially, and then your confidence will build. See how connected the kids
Right. Confidence will build once you see how connected the kids are. Wonderful. And so, I mean, so with that, actually, right? If so, someone is nervous about implementing it first,
are. Yeah,
taking the chance. What does or how does BizWorld support teachers to actually implement the program? Let's say, especially for their first time.
right, right. Well, that's one of the things I'm excited about is I don't mind getting on a call and walking them through some parts of it. Patty's available to talk with them. So they've got a support network within BizWorld, even though we're not literally able to physically hold your hand, we're available to figuratively and virtually hold your hand and walk you through the parts of it. There's training we can do on the front end, there's advising in the middle, whatever a teacher needs. That's one of the things I'm really excited about getting to.
That's wonderful to know. I wasn't even aware that it was like such an open dialogue, right? Of
Yeah,
course, there's training in the beginning, right? But anytime you have questions, being able to ask
yes,
questions, even how you said, right? You had a friend in Patty on the inside, and like now
yes,
you want to be that friend and liaison to other
yes.
teachers. That's so wonderful. So looking ahead, maybe you can talk a little bit about BizWorld Plus, and we'll sort of finish up on that. But what are some of the exciting initiatives, new developments that educators should know about?
Okay. So BizWorld Plus is something that we are getting feedback from teachers. That's actually what I'm working on right now is getting having virtual interviews with some teachers, having teachers go through the BizWorld Pro curriculum and make notes about what did and didn't work, what tweaks they've used, what hacks they've used, what they didn't use at all, what they wish they could have had but wasn't there yet. I did the same thing. I went through it all and kind of said, this worked for me, and I would make this longer, I would make that shorter. So the BizWorld Plus is going to be a collection of all the best parts of the practice that teachers have and putting it together in one easy to find place where when they open up BizWorld Plus, they're going to know they're getting the best cutting edge, top of the line plan for their classroom right off the bat.
So it's that piece that you're getting more feedback. You're not just using your own experience and knowledge, which
Right.
already is a plethora. You're getting
Yeah.
the exact direct feedback from teachers of what to keep, what to remove, what to have more
Yes.
of.
Yeah. And they have come up with so many great ideas. I'm so excited. That's like I said, that's what I'm working on right now. We're gonna Amparo and I are meeting next week, and we're gonna kind of start putting our heads together and cobble out that finished product. I'm grateful to have the other teachers giving me ideas. We're hoping to continue to tweak it over time. I think Amparo's talked about, making it a living document rather than an old-fashioned book that can't be changed for 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
This is going to be something we can just keep on working through, making the best.
A living document that'll be continually tweaked over time. That gets me really, really excited.
Yeah.
And then sort of the last piece I'm curious about is BizWorld is currently talking about somewhat of like community, right? They want
Yes.
BizWorld to be a community with educators and parents and supporters, everything like that. What does that mean to you? What's your vision for building and supporting a BizWorld community?
Well, I don't really know what form it's going to take yet, but that's something that we have talked about a lot. And we've talked about maybe having a Facebook page or a social media account that people can just, respond to each other in. Um, I've had those for other teacher groups, for other things that we do. So that would be one way. And there's going to be, I think, a forum. I don't know if that's the right word, but
Yeah.
in BizWorld Plus, there's going to be a learning management system, and then there's going to be a teacher forum component where teachers can ask a question and people can respond to it in real time, which is amazing. There's nothing worse than being in the middle of your presentation with the class and thinking, oh, oh, that didn't say what I thought it said, and I'm not really understanding. And you can just, come over here and make a little question on the forum, and somebody will pop back up, or search the forum and see if somebody else has already figured it out. So that's going to be it's going to be like having a partner next door to you ask questions, which every teacher it's going to be great.
Like having a partner right next door to you to be able to
Yes,
ask questions and sort of support you and
yes.
rely on.
Mhm. Yeah, to
I'm
rely
very
on. That's it.
excited about that.
Yes.
To rely
Going to be
on.
a really different experience and one that I'm excited about.
Wonderful. Wendy, I really appreciate it so much. If there's educators that want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, definitely email me. You got my email, right? Yeah.
I do.
Email me. I've got a phone number. They can call. They can call the BizWorld office. I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, fortunately, I'm a little addicted to my email account, so I'm kind of always watching.
Okay, great. And then it's Wendy.Tibbs at
Yes.
BizWorld.org.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. And then, the BizWorld phone number is there as well. And so, Wendy, thank you so much.